Ladies and gentlemen, this is Hey Sports Chicago, and we're back with another show, and today happens to be November the 3rd, 2025. We have a full slate of topics that we're going to get to, and probably get through them as well. Talk about a variety of things. First of all, my co-host wants to, because from time to time we forget that the Blackhawks are playing. We don't want to make sure that this show is totally, geared to Cubs and the Bears, but there are, White Sox, and once again the Blackhawks are playing. And
White Sox of the offseason.
Right, and it's a winter sport. So we do want to make reference from time to time about the Chicago Blackhawks. My co-host here is a little bit more up to date, and he follows a little bit more than I, so I will defer right now. And Hawks had a couple games since we aired last time.
Yeah, a little miserable, and considering the fact that they lost the last two games. They lost to the Western Conference, two-time defending back-to-back champions in the Edmonton Oilers 3-2 in a final overtime. That's a bit rough there. That's a bit rough. Because if you want to win in the West, you got to beat Edmonton, because you know that they're big, they're bad. And then prior to that, they faced off against the Winnipeg Jets and Jonathan Toews.
Jonathan Toews is with the Winnipeg Jets.
Jonathan Toews has been removed from the NHL for a couple of years now because of some medical illnesses he's had. I don't know the specifics of them, but anyway, he's been gone for roughly about 3 years. That sounds about right.
And is Kane short of 500 goals?
Yeah.
Did I read?
Yeah, Kane's about more than halfway to 500. But
no, he's 6 shy of.
Yes, he's more than halfway to 500. He's only 6 shy. That's more than halfway.
It is more than halfway.
That's more than halfway.
Okay.
Is he the best American hockey player?
I don't know, because I'd have to find out and follow who actually was born in America.
Because in my opinion, but I was gonna want
even guys that sound like they're Americans were born in Canada. So I'm not going to step out and say,
like Ryan O'Reilly. He sounds American, but he's born in Canada.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go, and because I don't know for sure. The way I look at it is, who the greatest who played in America. It was Bobby Orr. Born in America? I don't know.
He's Canadian.
See, he's Canadian. I would think Bobby, and he played his whole career with the Boston, most of his career, if not all his career, with the Boston Bruins. I would think Bobby Orr would be the epitome of an American hockey player, but I would be dead wrong. So I am not going to go out on that limb to find out who is the greatest American-born hockey player there is. So
okay, well, anyway, Blackhawks, again, they're getting their butts whipped. They got to figure something out here. And I thought they'd be so much better, but as you can always say, they need consistent goaltending help, and hope that Spencer Knight can figure that out. But anyway, other news: 3 Gold Glove winners, all from the Chicago Cub program. If you may, please get the thing, get the wooden cutout cardboard.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, okay, we're switching gears here to the Chicago Cubbies, our beloved Cubbies. Okay, and this is a new, because I didn't know. I was blacking out because those that have been following us, you noticed at one time we had a cabinet behind us, and now we kind of veered off a little bit and have a new background a little bit with some of our going to games and stuff. So we have some figureheads and bobbleheads and some other things. But the Chicago Cubs did have 3 Gold Glovers, and one of them I'll say was Ian Happ. Ian Happ deserves it. I wish he could hit more.
4th one in a row.
But 4th in a row.
That's impressive.
Okay, 4 in a row. And we hear about this guy that's always, west of the Mississippi, who minor leaguers think is the greatest defensive person. But, Ian Happ's got 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think, that Cardinal guy only had, 6 in a row? At one time, maybe 7. So Ian Happ is only 3 away from, and if we're putting in who should be the greatest catcher of all time because of the amount of Gold Gloves they have, well, if Ian Happ continues on this trend,
yeah, he'll get 8.
And then a delusional Cub fan could make the argument Well, he's the greatest left fielder of all time because he's got all these
One
gold gloves.
could. And he's a switch hitter, too.
Because that's the logic you use with that minor league team across the Mississippi. Also, who else? Our second baseman?
Nico Horner. That's your favorite player.
Nico Horner.
And mine, too.
Gold glove and 300 hitter. So,
Also a Stanford graduate.
Right. And you're going to throw that other little nugget.
Armstrong.
No, one other thing with Nico Horner that you've said a million other times. This is the player the Cubs
need.
No.
Oh, they tried trading.
They thought about unloading Nico Horner.
Last offseason,
yes.
And they deny it. They deny it to Seattle for a pitcher.
And finally, Mr. Armstrong, because, and today when he had and what bothered me a little bit about that was in his interview, he kept on saying, yeah, it was cool to play with these guys. Well, he should just be, yeah, it was cool, but he should say,
what's he supposed to say?
He should say, I'm honored and thankful that I had
You're never going to give him credit for anything.
If you count over 200 strikeouts and getting credit for hitting a $189 against left-handed pitching, I'll give him credit. But Cubs did get three.
Is that most from any team right now?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is that the most from any team in the MLB this season?
I don't know, but I'd like to find out, that minor league team west of the Mississippi, how many do they have, But anyway, Cubs convention is in January. We'll get in the Hot Stove League as well with that.
Yeah, well, when's the winter meetings in baseball? You know more than me.
I think they're January and February. Okay.
And spring training is, 3 months away, 4 months away?
Late March.
World Series champions are the Los Angeles Dodgers.
We have to say it.
That needs to be referenced for one of our contributors is a very prominent Dodger fan. Thank you.
But Toronto, again, Toronto, snake-bit as a city.
Toronto can't ever win a Game 7. The Maple Leafs always choke away Game 7s. The Blue Jays gagged in Game 7. It looks like the Raptors, which I looked it up, they won in Game 6. Yeah. The Raptors, that one looks like... what are the Argonauts doing? Do we know?
I didn't follow.
What are they doing? Because do the Argonauts still have the most Grey Cups of any CFL team?
Were they peaceful in Canada? I didn't.
Do you think they rioted?
I didn't check to see.
Because I looked it up. The last time they got there were riots over the Blue Jays in Saskatchewan.
They riot.
In 1993.
They riot when
they win.
They win, and they riot when they lose. And if you haven't seen it, the 30-on-30, again, a Canada thing, wasn't so much Toronto, but if you get an opportunity to watch that Vancouver Canuck.
I'm just here for the riot.
The title of it is I'm Just Here for the Riot.
We tried buying that documentary. We called them, and they flat out said, and you want to know what's real funny about that, people? We tried getting that documentary. We called the Vancouver Canucks, and instead of like shooing us away, they were the opposite. It was just, it's like, oh, we'd love to help you, but no, we don't know where to find it.
They basically mentioned that the NHL had and ESPN had the rights, because normally you can even buy it on Amazon and eBay and whatever. Now I think you can buy it in a bulk set. But I don't think you can even buy it as an individual one.
I think Disney Plus. I think you can get it through Disney Plus, considering Disney owns ESPN.
But because of the content of we're only here for the riot, I think they want to kind of be hands off a little bit with that. But right now we've given you about 10 minutes of a wrap up of stuff to be if you're not aware of. But we're going to get into the meat of our stuff is the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears they won. Okay, first of all, some people will say, it's always like, people come out of the woodwork and say, I was at that game. I was at that game.
We were actually at that game.
We were actually in Cincinnati at that game Sunday.
We were at the game when Kyle Schwarber hit the big home run. We were at Patrick Kane's 1,000th point, and we were at the game when Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears came back in a 17-second time differential to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor Stadium.
And a quick sidebar to that is when they were up 14 and the Bengals were marching down, and Tremaine Edmonds intercepted the ball on the goal line and then ran it all the way back.
They took that away.
Well, the Bengals stands were clearing out, and we even said, because it was like 3 minutes left, we're like, okay, we had a hike to get the car. We're like, okay, I think this is safe. As we're walking out into the concourse,
going towards the ramp, going down.
They had the television sets, and they said after further review, okay, Edwards got touched at like the 2-yard line. So from there, the Bengals used all their defensive timeouts to stop the clock and a 2-minute warning to force the Bears to punt. They punted. And then geriatric old man, senior citizen, who's been playing for 20 years, had the greatest passing day of his life, Joe Flacco.
He did, because that was the first time he ever threw for
400 yards.
And they said it on the video board.
Over and over and over.
This is like the first time.
So now the Bengals, so then the Bengals march down, and now we're watching it from the concourse where, okay, we'll wait. If they don't, if they give the ball up or something, we'll get out of here. Well, what happened? Yeah. Well, Flacco throws. They get down, they score a touchdown. Now they're only up. The Bears are only up 6 it's less than 2 minutes now.
And then they do the onside kick.
They do the onside kick.
Which the Chicago Bears can't even be bothered to apprehend.
Okay. So, and we're going to find some negative with the Bears, even though they scored.
Even though they won, their defense
and they scored 40 points.
Not to mention that their field goal kicker missed a couple of kicks.
And to start the game, the Bengals ran a ball back. Special teams.
I forgot about that.
Special teams. And then this special teams, the Bears can't cover an onside kick. So then we hustle back to our seats. And we're sitting in our seats, and we watch again. Mr. Geriatric pick apart maybe the worst secondary in all of pro football. And the geriatric man comes down, throws another touchdown pass, and now the Bengals are winning with 52 seconds left, and the Bears have. Did they have one timeout or no timeout? I can't remember.
They had 2 timeouts to begin because they already burned through one team. They
burned one early in the half because they couldn't get a play in.
And that was a defensive timeout, I think, that they did.
Yeah.
And if that was a Matt Eberflus team that did that, they'd be all over him.
Yeah, they would have crucified Matt Eberflus.
That would be on Matt Nagy. They'd be all over.
Yeah, time management, but because of Mr. Sizzle.
No, yeah.
Okay. And he had like 4 gadget plays, and Lou Holtz used to say, if you got to run gadget plays.
Well, Lou Holtz didn't coach this game.
Okay, but anyway, gadget plays, and, and some of them were productive. But anyway, Caleb Williams gets the ball with 57 seconds left.
And he throws to the brand new number 10th overall draft choice of Colson Loveland at the tight end position.
Mm-hmm.
And they score. He bounces, pinball.
He bounces again, and as we said, the worst secondary we saw with our own eyes. Maybe the worst total defense in the National Football League in the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay.
If the Bengals get a defense, oh my God.
Okay. Now, along with that, okay, because again, some negativity here. And those that have been watching this for a while know that I am still iffy about Mr. Generational Quarterback.
Well, he got a generational stat line. He had the first of 50 yards rushing. He had the first catching
a ball over 20 yards.
Yeah, and then he threw for 280 yards.
Yeah.
And then 3 touchdown passes.
But again, I've always said stats are for losers.
Well, stats are for winners in that case.
But anyway, prior to that, now they ran the ball. They ran the ball down the throat.
Speaking of running the ball, the Bears had the number 2 rushing attack in the NFL yards per game. Yeah. Let that sink in.
And they're 5-3. So now my next question.
Should have won the Vikings game.
So my next question is, with this generational quarterback that you had to like, and again, let's not forget, Lovie Smith won the game way back when to allow the Bears to have the number 1 pick with this.
But they had no idea that.
They had no idea. But the next question is, if you got the number 2 rushing attack in pro football, what the hell is your starting quarterback doing? Up until that last play, which was 58 yards on that touchdown pass to Colton Loveland. Okay, and he only had 278 yards in the game. Take 58 minus 278, and I think we did the math earlier.
280 altogether, okay. But
before that pass, he had 218 yards passing, and the Bears scored 40 points. Now, my next question is he so bad that he was unproductive, or was it the Bears figured out, let's run the damn ball, and as I said before, you can get a robot to hand the ball off to somebody. The effectiveness of a quarterback, of a plug and play that you have to, like...
Well, he's certainly better than Justin Fields.
True. Okay. But he's better than Justin Fields, but again, what jersey did I have on yesterday?
You wore the only one wearing a Mitchell Trubisky jersey.
I was proud with the Mitchell because, first of all,
I was freezing. I don't know about you, but I was freezing.
But just to let you guys, just those that normally tune in, the last quarterback to take the Bears to a playoff game, and I believe it was 2 playoff games, was Magical Mitch. Okay? And our last show, we did comparison contrasts with wins and losses and touchdown passes, and you could go back to a back show, and the difference between the first 23 games, now 24 games, in Mitchell Trubisky compared to Mr. Generational.
You still have the stat line?
I had it somewhere. I can look. I don't know. I was cleaning the table, maybe.
You can look it up later.
But we can update that as well. But here's the game that was, what is Caleb Williams? And you know what? And people in the stands, they
were criticized, even us included. Like when they were losing.
Okay. But a lot of people, not so much that, but a lot of people, there were very few people that were saying that Caleb Williams is the answer that's going to take us to the Super Bowl. A lot of them are saying he runs around, he's playing hero ball.
He's inconsistent.
He's overshooting people. He's only look at the stats. He only looks at one guy. Now, Loveland got a little more attention yesterday, okay, but still throwing a Rome of Doomsday. Because if you look at between the number 1 and the number 2 receptions between who the Bears have, Roma Doomsday is far and away ahead of the next individual. So once again, if you have all these weapons, why aren't you distributing the ball? Or do you really have all these weapons? I don't know. Now, we're going to download...
Well, the real answer should be, well, the thing that we do know is Dennis Allen, along with the other defensive coordinator out there in Cincinnati, as you said, both of them should be fired. Dennis Allen, why is he even here? And I understand he's not the one defending, he's not the one playing defense, he's not the one out there tackling and hitting people, but my God, they don't look any much better than what they were last year.
I got to check this out because, and we preface by saying we have to check this out because there's a lot of Meathead podcast shows that just fire stuff, without checking things. I don't know for sure, but I think, and I hate to even say his name, and I just call him Mr. Sizzle head coach, more sizzle than steak head coach. I think him and Dennis Allen's paths, as they were coming up through the ranks, I think maybe they coached on the same staff at one time.
I would not be surprised if that is.
So when Dennis Allen was out of work, after he got whacked by the Saints, when Mr. Sizzle...
You mean Ben Johnson?
Thank you, okay. Because, I don't like to, because right now I'm not overly impressed. Mr. Johnson, comes in and obviously it's like anything else. When people get positions to hire people, they hire their buddies. There's no secret, and I'm not angry about that. But
okay, but the reality of it is he was hired here to do a job. The job being to turn around the Chicago Bears,
right?
Which so far, even though they're 5-3, they should be 6-2.
Right. Well,
no, they still should have won the Minnesota Vikings game.
But the Washington game, they should have lost.
No, they won the game.
They did win the game. Okay. So I know where you're going with that. They did
and
win.
I know where you're going with that as well.
So you're adding wins rather than me subtracting wins.
Well, because the Minnesota Vikings game is the one game, and I'm good friends with a Minnesota fan. Mm-hmm. He outright told me Chicago should have won the game. They gave it away. His words, not mine.
And I know you're going to jump down my throat because when I mention this, it's not that I am supporting and defending Eberflus. But once again, okay, maybe if Eberflus and the Bears hired for this year another offense, but Eberflus's defense last year.
They hate Eberflus.
They hate him.
That team hated Eberflus. Stop it.
But when when you're comparing the defense of the Chicago Bears this year to last year, and Eberflus after the guy left or fired or whatever you want to say, that defensive coordinator gone, Eberflus took the reins, and the Bears were a top 10 defense. Okay, so when people are saying that Eberflus had all these faults, and he did, okay, now you might say, well, he's struggling in Dallas. Well, Dallas
I was right about to go there.
But Dallas has the same personnel defensively as the Bengals. The Bears always had good defense. And the stat that you wanted me to bring up the other day, because all these defensive backs, a stat that I read where, because in the draft where Brisker and Gordon came in together, one of them was the 42nd pick in the draft, and the other one was like the 44th or 45th pick in the draft, because that year the Bears had those picks that close. So they picked Gordon and Brister. Okay? And I read a stat or heard a stat, and don't hold me to the exact percentage, but they've been
united.
They've been united for 57, thank you. They've been united together for 57 or 58 NFL games, and together they've only been on the field for 27 or 28 of those games.
It's horrible.
So are they getting hurt? What are they doing?
That's horrible.
That's a terrible, and
That's horrible.
What is it? The best availability, or what's the stat?
The best strength is your availability.
Yes.
And the fact of the matter thereof, and going from defense to offense, the Bears currently, they are a top 12. They're the number 12 best offense right now in the NFL. Can they keep this up?
Well,
so far away, and then going into the previous iteration of Ben Johnson's former offense up there in Detroit, granted, completely two different teams, two different organizations, top to bottom. Ben Johnson his offense averaged roughly somewhere between 20 to 29 points per game. The Bears so far have been averaging at least 20 to 25 points per game. Like, at a minimum, I mean.
And, in this 12th ranked offense, and before the season started, and now you got to wonder about their division because, Green Bay lost to Carolina.
Well.
So now you got to wonder, because everybody thought the NFC North was that in the bag of chips.
Well, Green Bay was also, last year, they were also 1-5 in their division. The Matt LaFleur Green Bay Packers have lost to a lot of teams they have no business losing to. And the people up north, they want him fired.
Okay.
They want him gone.
But
not to mention they tied with Dallas.
But at the beginning of the year, getting into this 12th ranking of the offense, the Bears were labeled, ranked, evaluated, whatever you might, of playing because they finished in last place. They're playing a last place schedule, other than the crossovers in the conference that you're mandatory to play. So they're non-mandatory games are played against teams that finished in last place last year.
Being the Giants,
the Saints, the Bengals.
The Raiders, I think.
The Raiders. Bengals are playing the whole conference. So again, statistics are kind of for losers, and I could say that. And now the argument would be, I'm going to give you this stat, is currently Caleb Williams is only passing for 222 yards a game. Average.
Per minimum.
Okay. Not the grand total. He's averaging under 9 games, 229 yards a game.
And he's 84 yards passing away from 2,000.
Okay.
That just
okay.
For a roundup.
Okay. But going back to the guy I like, that I wore the jersey,
yeah.
We did some looking into, and people say, well, it's all the quarterback, blah, blah, blah. There were games, I said, what if Tyson Bagent was the starting, and we looked this up. There were games.
Only 2 games.
Well, but there were 2 games. Okay, because people say, well, Tyson Bagent can't throw for 222 yards. That's bullshit, because that's the only time I cussed so far. But Tyson Bagent had 2 games where he passed for more than 222 yards. So Tyson Bagent has the ability to average what Caleb Williams is averaging this season. So for people to say that it would be ridiculous for a quarterback change.
So far, yeah. Unless something drastic happened, like if he turned into like Bobby Hoying, I referenced him the other day. Bobby Hoying, ironically, played the Philadelphia Eagles, played the Cincinnati Bengals. Bobby Hoying is on the Philadelphia Eagles, for those who do not know, going about 25-something years ago. The Eagles go and play the Bengals and they destroy them. And then Bobby Hoying has like 5 consecutive games. He just plays horrible. And then that's it. That's the end of his career. If Caleb Williams has like 5 straight games where he's just outright abysmal, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll be open to it. Yeah, I'll be open to the concept of having a quarterback change going into the future. But as of now...
But the Bears got the 12th highest... got the 12th highest rated offense, and we looked average, and now... Because we did the average.
Second best rushing attack.
Right, but he's passing.
I know, but still.
But the passing of Caleb Williams, he's ranked 14th in game average. Not total yards, because there are some people like Jalen Daniels has been hurt. Okay? J.J. McCarthy has been hurt. Brock Purdy is the leading average quarterback per yards per game, but he doesn't have the total that Caleb Williams. But average-wise, Caleb Williams is only 14th. That's middle of the pack. That's one better than middle of the pack. So, for those people who are out there saying that Caleb Williams is the answer, check some things at the door. Because once again, they're the number 2 rushing team in the NFL. Everything starts with rushing, and again, you can have Vince Lombardi had Bart Starr, and they ran 3 plays to the right and 3 plays to the left with Paul Hornung, and they were running plays. So don't tell me, and again, and we're going to have a show about quarterbacks that are in the Super Bowl. We got to get that because we're going to have some downtime. Don't tell me that you got to have a quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You got to have somebody who can manage things. Okay? The guy who's throwing for 400 yards all over. Dan Fouts threw for 400 goddamn yards every game. Never won a Super Bowl.
Flacco threw for 500 yards.
Flacco threw for almost 500 yards yesterday and lost. And we were there. So you people out there who's like, because then what happens in the next couple of years if Caleb doesn't get there? So now we got to get the next,
Well, that's what they did to Mitch.
That's what they did to Mitch. So with that being said, but the Bears are 5-3, okay? And before you slow your roll, everybody, now they're going to the playoffs. I said before, and if you're a local or a regular viewer, I said, how many games are the Bears going to win?
You said like 7 at most.
7, okay? And they have two potential locks, and we're going to go into the next one. Our next segment here is, the next upcoming game against the Giants. The Giants is a game that they are one of those games that they can win, and Cleveland. Beyond that, look at the schedule and tell me where there's a lock. We had that here. We can scratch off the Cincinnati game. We do have that available, okay? The Giants have to be one that you're leaning on a lock, and Cleveland. So the remainder of the games are Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Green Bay twice, and Detroit.
None of them are easy.
And if anybody's going to tell me...
I don't think after this game, because there were moments where the Bears should have just ran away with it, and they never did. The Bears...
And San Francisco.
The Bears put up 40-something plus points. 40-plus points and almost lost the damn game.
Because if they don't win this Giants game, and we're kind of leaning into...
If they don't win one of those Green Bay games...
Well...
I know, but still, God forbid I reference the remainder of the schedule. God forbid I do that.
No, but let's get to the Green Bay game. Until we get to the Green Bay game.
Okay, get to
So we're going to talk to... in reality here, the Giants, if they don't beat the Giants, let's just... Not at what if, because we don't know, but we're going to... Okay, if they were to stub their toe with the Giants, that's a loss.
Season's over.
Minnesota's a loss. Philadelphia's a loss. Now you jump into that Green Bay. You have lost 3 in a row till you play Green Bay the first time. And if you were to lose that game, that's 4 in a row before you roll into Cleveland.
Where's that first game at?
Which game?
The Green Bay game.
That I don't know. I think it's at Chicago. Okay. So, the Giants game is important. Because if they were to lose that, you go Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia. And then Green Bay. And if any viewer out there is saying that any of those games are a true lock, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say they could very well lose all 4 of those games.
None of these games are locked.
And if you're giving up 42 points a game, you're going to lose 4 in a row. Okay. And now that changes your record from 5-3 to now you're 5-8. And you know what? At that point in time, you're probably the same record as you were last year.
But that's okay, because George McCaskey was at the game last week, right?
Yeah. And then you roll into Cleveland, where maybe, again, the Giants, and the Giants defense is better than the Bengals. They're going to put pressure on Caleb Williams.
But it's a rookie quarterback, though.
Now, their offense, with Jackson Dart and...
no Saquon Barkley.
Right. And I think their number one, right, is it Naylor? I think he's out because of knee injury. So, yeah, and even though yesterday, for investment purposes, the over crushed, I haven't even looked, but I'm going with the under in the Giants game. I don't think the Bears are going to score low 20s at best. Okay, and the Giants' offense is not very good, so they're going to get in the low 20s. If the line is, 44, 45, 46, I love the under, okay, for investment purposes only. But you sit back, okay, and then what happens if you go into the Cleveland game after losing 4 in a row? Okay, and the Cleveland might be the best defense of all of these jokers.
Well, they got the best defensive line.
Okay. Then you lose that, and then you play Green Bay again. So everybody's got, after 5-3, saying, "Yeah, we're going to get our playoff tickets." It could still spiral.
They could lose the remainder of every single game.
They sure could.
That's the worst part. They could lose the remainder of every single game there.
And then you're sitting at what?
Because I'm concerned about that Philadelphia
5-12.
game. I am more disturbed by Philadelphia than I am anybody else.
Well, they're going to get buried.
By
Philadelphia.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, because I know Philadelphia's got their issues, but still.
Okay.
Should I have...
And you just don't like Green Bay, but... Okay, Green Bay...
Why would I like Green Bay?
Okay.
I'm a Bear fan. Why would I like Green Bay?
Okay, but what I'm saying is...
Why would I like Green Bay?
Oh, Lord Almighty. You tie in with Green Bay sucks because you don't like them.
Well, Green Bay sucks right now because they lost to Carolina Panthers and they tied Dallas. Green Bay sucks right now because they've lost to inferior competition the past 15 years. Green Bay sucks right now because, somehow, some way, this is somehow Mike McCarthy's fault that they lost. Because they suck right now because last year they were 1-5 in their division. Should have been 0-6 if it wasn't for a blocked field goal. That's why they suck.
You have mentioned, so what's Green Bay's record right now?
6.
Are they 6-2 and 5-3? They're not 500. They're better.
I gotta double check it. I don't know it for sure. I don't know it.
I think they got the same record as the Bears. So if Green Bay's got that record, you know what? Then the Bears suck because they got the same record.
No, but you know what? No one is saying that Green Bay. Have you seen anyone in the national media say anything about Green Bay losing to Carolina? Oh, but if that was a Bears team that were to do that.
Well, first of all, I can't say that because I did not watch any sporting events.
Because if that was a Bears team that lost to Carolina, could you imagine the international outcry for that?
Well, I don't know because I did not, like I said, I didn't watch any sports today, so I don't know if they're crucifying Green Bay, or whatever the case might be.
Oh, but, Jordan Love is an MVP, right?
No, he's not.
Then why was he heavily favored of being an MVP?
I don't make those rankings.
Why did people honestly think he was going to be heavily favored of being an MVP?
Well, before the year, he had the ability, but he's not in the picture anymore.
And in the same way how people thought Arch Manning was going to be a Heisman Trophy winner.
But they're not in the picture anymore. So they're non-issues right now.
Oh, why? Why? Because he's a Green Bay quarterback, therefore he's the second coming of Christ?
Okay, well, you're going off the rails here a little bit, and but the Bears played the Giants. Okay, but then if the Bears don't beat the team that sucks, then they suck. Because you said Green Bay. So if the Bears don't...
No, if the Bears don't whoop Green Bay, yeah, they have some issues, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but that is, the upcoming, and it's a noon game at Soldiers Field. Weather is supposed to be not great. I saw a weather forecast for the remainder week. Saturday should be decent, but cold on Sunday.
You want to say anything about your favorite SEC coaches that keep getting fired?
We're going to, once again, though, before I get into that, as we said, we were in Cincinnati, and we had the ability, I have family in Cincinnati. I was able to see one of my cousins, and then we had some Skyline chili, and again, we get no money corporate stuff, but once again, to get into the south suburbs, go to Aurelio's Pizza, it's the sauce.
We're not sponsored by any of these
Not sponsored or whatever by anybody, and then we also got, Carrie's watching us over there. But we had the ability, Skyline chili, and then, everybody might think Dairy Queen or some of these other places, are the great milkshakes of the world, but there's a place called the United Dairy Farmers in Cincinnati, and they got the greatest milkshakes in the world. But as we were in Cincinnati, as we're paying, I looked, and they said, which I didn't realize, it's the 50th anniversary of the Big Red Machine. And for those people, Big Red Machine was the Cincinnati Reds in the 70s with multiple Hall of Famers, but you were able to purchase, if you want, these souvenir cups, okay? And those, some people out there might not like Pete Rose. This is Pete Rose, okay? And we're not going into that. But anyway, had the ability to purchase. I purchased a Pete Rose, a Johnny Bench, and a Joe Morgan cup. We passed on Tony Perez, but Tony Perez is also in the Hall of Fame. But, they called it the Great 8 Players, and then went to their Baseball Hall of Fame museum. And,
where did you put it?
What?
What? There was up this...
What?
Oh, there it is.
And we picked up the sort of the replica of the Cincinnati Hall of Fame. It's not the Major League, but this is Pete Rose. They got all kinds of neat things.
Got a cool hat from there.
Puts to shame the Hall of Fame west of the Mississippi. Not even remotely
God, no.
close.
It was really cool. It was really cool.
You could have your little Ring of Honor and the Clydesdales come up and down.
And the, what is it? Is it a Ford pickup truck that they all drive down into?
I don't know. And your little red Blazers, but the memorabilia
Oh, dude. It was
and the
cool.
stuff, it was like a Hall of Fame.
It was like Cooperstown. It was really cool.
Jerseys, balls,
Benches.
benches from Old Crosley Field. I think they had 4,000, 4,003, whatever, Pete Rose,
yeah.
baseballs on a wall. Okay? And you go up, you keep walking up the stairs, and every 1,000 there's a new set of, again, identifying Pete Rose. Okay? But if you ever get to Cincinnati, Ohio, you definitely, it's well worth.
It's not that big of a city, but it is quite nice.
So, we took care of that. And in our last couple of minutes here, the SEC has got this carousel of coaches. First of all, there's Pete Rose again. I am so anti-SEC because everybody thinks the SEC is the end-all, be-all of college football. Okay? And I guess if you don't win, you get fired. Okay? Okay. But let's put some things in perspective. The Arkansas coach got fired. Arkansas stinks. But let's fire the coach. Okay? Florida has been in free fall and has had so many coaches.
A lot of culture problems.
Okay. And Billy Napier got fired. Okay. I'm saving the last one.
I know where that one's going.
Brian Kelly from LSU.
Oh, I thought that was going to be the last one.
No. Brian Kelly got fired from LSU.
Now I have no idea where this is going.
Okay. And then the kook of kooks, who should never have been hired in the first place, Hugh Freeze got fired today.
I thought Brian Kelly was going to be the final one on that one.
Hugh Freeze. Now,
how you hate what he did to Notre Dame.
Well, there are 4 openings in the SEC alone. Currently, I think there's 1. Currently, there's 1 in the Big Ten. Now, Luke Fickell's on the hot seat at Wisconsin. But the next question is, and they keep saying, who's going to fill these jobs? And the SEC's got this big wish list, okay? But what they're saying is the guys that are going to fill these jobs are going to be coming from the SEC. They keep talking about Lane Kiffin's going to fill one of those jobs. Well, Lane Kiffin's currently in the SEC.
Why would Lane Kiffin want to leave?
Why would Lane Kiffin? He walks on water at Mississippi, okay? Then they talk about that overrated guy at Mizzou, Eli Drinkowitz, okay? But he's going from, now a much better job because Missouri's this wannabe SEC football team. But he's going to go. But if he gets a job, he's going from one SEC to another. Nobody from the Big Ten. The guy at Northwestern ain't taking one of those 4 jobs that I mentioned. Okay?
Know who could? Really could. Dark horse. It'd be a dark horse wild card idea. Mike McDaniel getting fired from the Miami Dolphins. Going down to the SEC. You think that could happen?
Well, yeah, go. And I don't think you coach one of those 4 teams. But the SEC is so arrogant, they think that they're going to get, Dabo's going to go there, and Mario Cristobal's going to leave Miami to go there. You're going to end up with, Matt Campbell from Iowa State. He's not going anywhere. You're not getting the Kansas State guy.
Brett
Bielema's not going there. So what you're going to do once again is you're going to get somebody from the Sun Belt, the American Conference.
Signetti just got the highest paid.
Yeah.
In Indiana.
And people say, well, the SEC's open. We got to jump to one of those 4 jobs. No, they're not.
And Belichick is not going to get fired from UNC anytime soon. So he ain't going anywhere.
The guy at Wake Forest ain't going anywhere. If you think the guy at Georgia Tech is leaving Georgia Tech after he built that, and he's going to rush to Auburn, that ain't happening. Just check to see who's going to be the head coaches.
You don't think the guy from Oregon? Oh, what's his face?
They keep saying Dan Lanning from Oregon. Okay.
That one I could see.
And he is a Big Ten guy. But Oregon just moved to the Big Ten, and they have a chance every year to be competitive. And and the Big Ten, and according to the woes me SEC, we have no money. Why would you leave a place where Phil Knight from Oregon gives you everything?
Yeah, why would you leave a place that has money to go to an area that doesn't?
Because I'm not going to say it's an easier job in the SEC. First of all, those 4 teams that I mentioned, Oregon would kick their ass every single solitary day.
Yes.
On a neutral court, you could play them anywhere. On Mars, a neutral court. Oregon is beating those 4 teams that I just mentioned. So if Dan Lanning is going... If you think Dan Lanning is going to leave Oregon, where he has just this plethora of money from the Nike Corporation, and he's going to go to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and you think you got a chance to get him, you're crazy. It ain't happening.
But you want to know why? For all, it's funny to me. For all the people who down there in the SEC, oh, we're the SEC. It just means more. Okay, but yet you have all this great, tremendous athletic success, but yet you can't bring anyone of quality down there. Even with all the great athletic success and prowess and whatever it may be. Do you want to know what that just goes to show? That if you were to eliminate your athletic programs from all of your schools and universities, being plural. Notice how I said schools and universities, because that's what they are. They're schools who just happen to have athletic programs. If I criticize them every day here. You remove football from Notre Dame, you wouldn't miss a beat. You could remove football from Northwestern, you wouldn't miss a beat. As a school, as a university. What the hell does Alabama have other than football or sports? What the hell does Auburn have?
Alabama basketball. I mean,
no. I'm sorry. Other than I'm not talking about athletics.
Okay.
I'm talking about as a school.
Oh, as a school. No.
Who are they?
No.
What are they? What do they do?
No.
Nothing. No one knows. That's how meaningless they are.
And I think one of them, either Alabama or Auburn, has the highest incoming freshman percentage of acceptance than anybody in America. Yes, you're right. People go down. They don't sit there from, Topeka, Kansas, and go, geez, you know what? I'm going to Alabama for economics. No, you're going to Alabama
to get drunk and watch a football game.
Correct.
Nothing more.
Correct.
Nothing less.
Correct.
You're not relevant. You don't matter as an institution, and you never have.
People from Illinois, and this bothers me, people other than the broadcasting school at Missouri, but people who go to Mizzou to get a business degree, okay, where you can get a great business degree at the University of Illinois. You can get a great business degree at Northern Illinois. The only reason you're going to Mizzou is because you want to go at the SEC nonsense on game day. That's it.
Don't they also, they have, big out-of-state population of students? Because, they want people to go to their school.
Yes.
Because it's, cheaper for out-of-state people to go there.
Yes, it's out-of-state tuition at some of these places is cheap as Missouri. The Missouri schools, it's cheaper for Illinois people to go to Missouri and go to college than it is to go to the University of Illinois. Because they want to say, we got people from all 50 states. Okay. And, well and good. But
the reality of it is, if you're not recruiting, and you always bring this up, if you don't recruit, if Illinois doesn't recruit from the Chicago Catholic League for their football team or basketball team, they have some problems. If they don't recruit anyone from Chicago to be on their football team, they got some problems. Do they not?
Here's another thing. Those 4 schools, just let people go. And they let Brian Kelly go.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly was fired. Hugh Freeze was fired. Billy Napier was fired. And
They've all been there for a while.
And who's the other one? Sam Pickman. Okay? There's 4 openings. Here's the deal. Why don't those 4 openings, why don't Auburn go hire...
Mike Gundy.
No, Brian Kelly. Because he coached at LSU. He's got to be a step up from Hugh Freeze.
Oh, here's a better question. Where do you think all 4 of those guys going to end up being?
I was going to just say the same thing. Where are they? You think they're going? Where are they going to go?
Who's going to replace Mike Gundy next year at Oklahoma State?
Yeah, you think Brian Kelly's going to go to Oklahoma State after he's got a $54 million buyout? Those guys are going to sit on their ass and do nothing.
Think, oh, they got this big buyout, yay.
Okay. You know, I think Gundy might end up in Virginia Tech.
I could see that.
Okay. If Virginia Tech doesn't try to get Shane Beamer where his dad was, but look at that. If these coaches who got whacked are these geniuses, why don't the schools who have these openings just circumvent and get them? Billy Napier has been fired, and he's been in a hot seat. Where the hell's he going to go?
Is James Franklin going to go to any of those SEC schools?
Okay. No, he wasn't in the SEC. He started at Vanderbilt. He ain't going back. So one of those guys are going to end up at UCLA. Okay, and before you say, well, they're going to the Big Ten, UCLA's not a Big Ten school. They're in the Big Ten Conference. They're not. They're in a Pac-10. But we're going to go with that carousel all the way around. I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover in the period of time that we want to talk about. Again, upcoming game is the New York Giants. Okay? The Bears, New York Giants. The only thing we got to look into is, college football will be on every day. The Blackhawks we got to look into. But as far as what's going on, Bears, Sunday.
The Bulls.
High noon.
The Bulls have been doing good so far.
Wait a minute. I'm starting to yawn. Because for me, the cure for insomnia is 3 letters in the alphabet. N-B-A. So we'll leave it at that. And we'll wish you guys a good week. Continue watching the sports. And we are, hey, Chicago Sports. See you down the week. Bye-bye.